and welcome to the first edition, first podcast of Dell's Discretion. I'm your host, Dell Didway. And just to give you a little bit of history about me as to why I'm, qualified to do a podcast, which I'm really not qualified. Anybody's qualified to do a podcast if you have an opinion and you have a way to get it out there. But I am an author, and I'm a writer, and I'm a blogger, and I've been in the media off and on for a lot of years. And most recently, the last 4 or 5 years, I have become an author, mainly in the Christian publishing market. My first book was Buckeye Believer, 40 Days of Devotions for the Ohio State Faithful. Go Bucks. I followed that up with Bengal Believer, 40 days of, or I should say 40 Who-Day devotions for the Cincinnati Fanatic. And since then, it's kind of steamrolled and it's kind of snowballed. I've had published Dugout Devotions, First Down Devotions, Bama Believer, Auburn Believer, Michigan Motivations, and Having Impossible Faith. Those have all come about the last basically 4 years. And I've been privileged and blessed to have run into some wonderful people along my journey who have helped me, to go down this avenue, go down this road. And it's been a major blessing to myself and my wife and my family. And it's just been fun. I mean, I've met some fantastic people. I've had opportunities that I didn't even dream about 5 years ago. Writing a book was never, ever, ever on my list, on my bucket list. And here in the last 4 years, I've had 8 published. And on the horizon in this 2021, I have 4 book launches planned. They're already set in stone. The first one of 2021 will be a sequel to Dugout Devotions, and it's called, ironically, Dugout Devotions 2. And that's on deck to get in the batter's box in March of 2021. And then later in the spring, I think we're going to be launching Heart of a Hoosier, which is an inspirational look at Indiana basketball that I co-wrote with a very talented and award-winning author, Michelle Medlock Adams, who basically is one of the people responsible for putting me on this journey to be a writer. And then we will launch First Down Devotions 2, the sequel to First Down Devotions. And that will be, I think, around August time frame. And then later in 2021, my friend John Wong and I will publish Kentucky Passion, and it's an inspirational look and book about Kentucky basketball, because that's kind of a big thing in the state of Kentucky. So we're hoping to have a good year with those. We're hoping to have some fun with those, because on the first launch of First Down and Dugout, we actually went around, did some book signings, and made some personal appearances, and that was a lot of fun. And we hope to be able to get that back into action this year, because in 2020, the year everybody's trying to forget, I had 3 book launches, and we were not really able to have an impact and go around and launch the books properly. We did what we could, but we were hampered, obviously, with restrictions and closures and things like that. So 2020 has been, it's kind of a frustrating year for everybody. And we're not taking away anything on that. We did what we could. We listened to the best we could to some advice of some folks who claim to be an authority. And we did what was responsible, and we did what we thought was best. However, I do agree with a lot of folks that people who've been put in power and authority really overstretched their limits and imposed things that they cannot impose on us. I have no qualms. I have no arguments or no resistance to wearing a mask if I'm asked, but I would not be told to wear a mask. It's just a principle. It's called freedom. It's something we have fought, men and women have fought and died for over the years, is this freedom. Something that's guaranteed to us in the First Amendment is freedom of expression. And sadly, and disgustingly, that has been trampled on by certain people. And I think, I've been in the media for a long time. In these past few years, I believe the media, the mainstream media, as they call themselves, is completely out of control. They were put in place and established as a source of information, as a source of integrity, as a source of honor, and as a check and balance to government and to what's going right, to expose things that are wrong. And somewhere along the way, they have taken it upon themselves to be the authority, to tell us who to vote for, to manipulate people because to fit their agenda. They create chaos, they fabricate information, and have nobody to answer to. Again, they're supposed to be the check and balance to government. They're supposed to point out, hey, this shouldn't be going on. There needs to be an investigation and cover-ups, and to inform people. They don't do that anymore. They censor. They tell you what they think you should know, and only that. And it's very alarming, and it's frightening. I can give you a lot of examples, but I'll just give you a couple that's been recently. A good friend of mine wrote a couple of book reviews for my books. And, my books are meant to encourage, they're meant to inspire. There's nothing bad about them. There's nothing that needs to be hidden from people. Anybody can read them. No bad language. It's all good. It's all good, positive things, right? Well, my friend wrote a book review where he actually mentioned the name of God and how this book can inspire people to have a closer walk with God. And you know what happened? That review was hidden by Amazon. It was hidden because they didn't want you to see that. Twitter daily censors the President of the United States. I'm looking at one right now, one of his tweets, and there's a little disclaimer that Twitter puts on saying, quote, "This claim about election fraud is disputed." And if you go to like that tweet, a little notification pops up basically saying, hey, this guy's lying. And if you want to know what they perceive as the truth, then follow this link and you can read about it. They're censoring the President of the United States. I've had things that I've commented on also have basically disappeared. My wife and I run this website called Southern Ohio Christian Voice. And a few years ago, Facebook, basically for about 2 months, put our account in limbo. We couldn't get to it. We couldn't do anything on it because we published a recipe for apple pie. And there was scripture involved. And we received a notification that that was against their community standards to post a recipe and to post something encouraging out there. That's against their standards. Yet I can go on Twitter. I can do this. I don't do this, but I can do this because I've seen it on my feed. I don't follow these accounts, but occasionally they do pop up. Blatant pornography. That's not offensive to Twitter. They will censor the President of the United States when he makes a statement. Yet, I can openly see disgusting acts performed. Yet that's not censored. I can read horrible, disgusting tweets from so-called celebrities who wish ill will on some of our leaders. But that's okay. But you've heard this, and some people may think it's just people whining, but it's true. Conservatives, Christian conservatives, are being censored. They're slowly trying to take the voice away because it's voice of reason. Franklin Graham had his account once suspended on Twitter. I've had mine suspended for a few days. I post a lot of pictures of bacon and things like that. But it is happening, and it's happening more and more frequent. And something needs to be done. The media is completely out of control. I am a proponent of the First Amendment. I am a proponent of the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment was written in case the First Amendment is abused, and we're seeing that today. We're seeing the First Amendment trampled on by the media, by big tech, by social media. If they don't want you to see it, they just hide it. If they don't want a good book review published, then they hide it. If you mention the words God, America, freedom, liberty, you are at risk of being censored. There is a disgusting movement out there that we need to do things like this. We need to take to the airwaves. We need to post more things about freedom. We need to talk to our so-called leaders. You know, I've been involved in local politics since I can remember, but I am just getting more and more disgusted at political leaders. In this pandemic, they forced businesses to close, which they cannot do. That's tyranny. Yet they continue to take their own salary. Both parties have been disgusting. Both parties have been un-American and not looking out for the American people. There has to be a change. 2021 must be the year. And hopefully some wonderful things will happen. Continue to shed your voice. Continue to let it be heard. Continue to do good. It's hard sometimes when you see evil rewarded and people that we look up to, police officers, military, first responders, when they're demonized by socialist liberals. And it's The time, 2021, is the time to take our freedom back and our liberty back. And the first thing that needs to start with is the First Amendment. So thank you for joining me on my first podcast of Dell's Discretion. It is my opinion. I will try to keep these podcasts 15 to 20 minutes, because that's about as long as I can talk anyway. We'll be back next week, and we hope you join us. Dell's Discretion. You can follow me on Twitter at DellDidway. My last name is spelled D-U-D-U-I-T. First name is Dell, D-E-L. So that's D-E-L-D-U-D-U-I-T. You can also follow me on Instagram and on my website, DellDidway.com. Dell's Discretion, my opinion, my voice, exercising my First Amendment.